welcome to Essential Viewing. This is actually only our 5th regular episode.
Damn.
I feel like it's been like a month since the last regular pick.
It has.
When we watched The Master. It seems like a lifetime ago now.
Yeah.
But anyway, this week, or I don't know if there's a week-by-week basis anymore, but this episode we watched Requiem for a Dream, directed by Darren Aronofsky. Starring Ellen Burstyn, Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly. I picked this after last time. I remember Chris said he liked an agonizing movie, and that's why I went with this one, because I remember it being super agonizing. So anyway, we just watched it.
I actually didn't think it was that agonizing.
Okay, I want to comment on this. Bryce, I know you initially said this film is very agonizing. I don't know if you described it as Chris's favorite dark, gritty, grimy, nasty. I think it's pretty nasty at some points. But I remember the first, maybe 2/3 of the film, I was saying, this isn't that bad. I didn't know if you meant it was hard to watch because the way it was, the style of the film. I really enjoyed that. But once it got towards the end of the film, it became extremely difficult.
The end is super nasty and difficult to watch.
It just, constantly,
I thought the film just got... it's interesting, because the characters kept saying, things will get better,
Yeah.
Things will get better. And their circumstances got worse.
Oh, yeah.
And worse throughout the movie, but the movie got better and better.
Yeah,
as it went on, I thought.
I really
Would you call it a bit of a slow burn?
Not really.
No.
I
didn't
think it was agonizing at all.
I thought it was because there were a few points and I'm like, okay, how long has this been going on for? And that's kind of my gauge for what a slow burn is. If a film is kind of if I'm kind of questioning how much time is left, that's when I know that the film's kind of slow for me.
I couldn't get enough. I was eating up every second of that film.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I really, really enjoyed the score.
All
the strings.
Absolutely.
The sound design, not even just the music that played, but the way they incorporated the sound is really interesting. When Jared Leto and Jennifer Connelly were on the roof of the apartment building, and they were... they left and they pulled the plug on the alarm and the alarm started going and then that transitioned into the music. That was really, really cool. And how they were really clever about how they incorporated that in. And especially in the end sequence when you see Jared Leto, spoilers, when you see Jared Leto getting his arm amputated, you see his mother going through electroshock therapy, you see...
There's Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, Marlon Wayans. He's in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Jennifer Connelly cuddling with her.
Yeah,
bag
they're all
of
lying
coke.
down and they were lying in their fate, sort of.
But the scene building up to those last shots of them was just the music was so agonizing and just really difficult to see, and or just difficult to view the scene in general. And the music itself added a lot of tension to that.
Oh, absolutely. The soundtrack was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of drum and bass in there.
Yeah.
Which, I hate drum and bass because it sounds like the kind of music that junkies would listen to.
Okay.
But it really fit with the soundtrack.
I guess it was a good soundtrack choice then.
Yeah, it was an excellent soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
This movie... are we doing the synopsis part now? I guess we kind of dived into talking about it.
Yeah, we can do synopsis. Go ahead first.
Wow, I love this movie.
I picked this thinking it was a movie Chris is going to like.
All right.
Absolutely. I saw this as a film about regret. That's sort of the theme that I got from it. You make mistakes in the past, and then it's about characters who've made mistakes in the past and are now trying to sort of shortcut their way to repairing the mistakes they made in the past. You look at Jared Leto's mother. She doesn't like the way her life has gone, so now she's going to turn to pills and cheap TV self-help to try and get herself back to where she was before her life went off track.
That guy in the TV is complete asshole.
Christopher McDonald, that's what his name is.
Yeah, and you look at Jared Leto's character, didn't turn out to be a successful person, as a junkie, a drug dealer. He's going to try and do some, harebrained scheme to try and get himself to the success.
A pound of pure.
Yeah, exactly. To get himself to the successful place where he wanted to be. All the characters, Jennifer Connelly's character, she wanted to open a store, right? Marlon Wayans' character, he just wanted to make his mother proud. Mm-hmm. They all have these lofty goals. In a sense, this is a film about the American dream. Because they all have these lofty goals of what happiness means to them. But the decisions they made in the past make it impossible to achieve those goals. Mm-hmm. And what happens is all the characters try and take shortcuts to achieve their goals, whether it's crime or pills or whatever. And it gets to the point, what I saw, my favorite scene in the movie absolutely was the scene where the characters from the TV show come out of the TV.
Oh God, that was
and are laughing at
ridiculous.
That was laughing at Jared Leto's mother, because I was like, it's like you failed. I thought that I thought there was a lot of meaning there, because it's like you failed to see your dreams come true. And now in thinking about them, because she's thinking about what she wants in life, it's not just about going on TV, it's about the life she wanted. And your dreams sort of mock you when you know you can't achieve them. You know what I mean? So that I really thought that scene wasn't just random psychedelic stuff to try and make the movie weird. I actually thought that there was a lot of meaning there, and I really enjoyed that scene because of that.
I think one thing this movie does really well is that kind of it shows you what the characters are going through, compared to just like telling you, and making sure you believe it. Like that scene with the people coming out of the film is like a big part showing Jared Leto's mother saying like, okay, I wasn't successful, and there's like a bunch of other examples of this too. I'm trying to think of them.
Yeah. I guess for my synopsis, like Chris, you said that you got the theme of regret out of the film. I saw the film as it promoted this theme of control, and how these things that we idolize in our lives can ultimately come to control us and control what we do and how we do things. And you saw that in Jared Leto's mother, who she like idolized TV. Like she spent her whole day watching TV. She wanted to be on TV. And because she wanted to be on TV, she was so heavily and emotionally invested in this offer that she was given, saying like, "Oh, I'm going to be on TV," and she was constantly talking about it with all her friends. That led her to taking these dieting pills, trying to fit into her dress, dyeing her hair to make herself look younger, so she could feel more like how she did when her late husband was around and when her son had graduated from high school. And that was kind of a control sense for her. And same thing with Jared Leto and Marlon Wayans' characters, where the control for them was partially to get high off whatever drugs they used, but it was also money, because they were just trying to make a living doing something that they knew how to do. And Jennifer Connelly, the control was the substances themselves. Like she was just motivated because she started going through withdrawals. She looked terrible. She started sleeping with people to get her fix. And how all these things that they idolized controlled them, and that without those things that they idolized, they controlled them in and of themselves, but also they were not happy without them. My favorite scene in the film was when Jared Leto returned to his home, and he was talking with his mother, and she said that she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on TV, and without like these dieting pills, like I can't be happy." Like,
something to live for.
It was something to live for, but it was very, very negative for them. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have things to live for, but you have to be careful in what you pick them to be. And some things that are attainable. But her saying that if I can't reach this goal of being on TV, I can't be happy. And that was a really sad thing to hear. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I took a much more like literal view of this, and I just like kind of see it as people dealing with addiction.
Oh yeah, that's entirely true as well.
I mean, like at the beginning, like it sets up all these characters, and like you see, like they aren't bad people. Like they're just like regular people trying to live their lives, but they're kind of all plagued by these different addictions they have. And like it could have just been like a movie about like people on drugs, but like you contrast like Jared Leto and like his friends, like they're all on like cocaine or heroin, and you can compare this to his mother who's on these diet pills, and it's kind of like a completely different drug. You know, like she's not just like trying to get a high, like she's trying to achieve something, but you can kind of see the same addiction still taking hold and her trying to deal with it.
I mean, I think it was kind of an interesting commentary on the sort of culture of instant gratification, because the downfall of basically all the characters was they couldn't, you have the easy pleasure or the harder to attain pleasure. But the easy pleasure is readily available, and the harder to attain pleasure actually takes some work. Jared Leto's mother, she tried the diet, right, which wouldn't have got her to lose weight immediately.
Oh yeah,
but it would have. Yeah, but I mean, okay, that's an unrealistic diet. But like, she would have doing an actual diet. She would have gotten what she wanted, but it would have taken longer.
Oh yeah,
and it would have been hard work. With these quick fix pills, you can have it right away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Jared Leto and Marlon Wayans, they both wanted money and success, and they wanted to become legit, to make it big. But the drugs, were right there. You can put them in your arm, or you can sell them and try and build a business out of that.
Yeah.
Not a legitimate business, but you can sell them, right?
Walter
but it's
White.
like the instant gratification is to just shoot them up, right?
Exactly.
So I think this is like a commentary on the culture of instant gratification and how it just, people's kind of unwillingness or maybe lack of strength to like push through and wait and try and achieve those higher pleasures that are harder to attain is, sort of something that is a phenomenon in America,
I kind of want to go back to what you guys were saying about Jared Leto's mother and her dieting. I thought it was really interesting because in the beginning of the film, when it starts off with a scene where the screen was split in half.
Yeah, they do that a few times,
and
actually.
I thought that was really interesting. That was a very interesting style.
They do a lot of different interesting style in this.
But I liked it. And one thing I got from that opening kind of sequence was that one, like Jared Leto was an asshole to his mom. And that kind of set a tone, but they didn't really develop that much further in the film because like when he came back and interacted with her the other time, she wasn't like that mean to her or anything. That's kind of irrelevant.
And she was on the diet pills at that point, so
yeah. But the big thing was that she let Jared Leto steal her TV so he could go sell it to a guy, and then she would go buy it back from him. And you could see that it happened many times from the guy's logbook, and later on you saw when she was reading the diet book and it said like was it coffee, no sugar, lunch, no dressing, anything like that. And it kept the screen hard cut to no. And it was showing that Jared Leto's mother could not deal with the word no or saying no because she would rather let her son steal her TV so she could go buy it back from him. So she wasn't direct. She was essentially giving him money for drugs, very indirectly, but she couldn't say no to him. And she'd rather indirectly give him money for drugs than just say no altogether. And she couldn't say no to adding sugar or cream to her coffee or no to putting dressing on her salad. And I thought that was a really interesting kind of character exploration there. And they did that. I think they did that really well. But they didn't. I don't think they really went much further with it later on. I mean, it was still a great.
Well, no, I think it was a central sort of thing because her unwillingness to say no to her urges. Is what brought her to her eventual just complete destruction. The whole time that fridge was
coming at her.
It was literally chasing after
her. The fridge
her.
was thirsty.
There were donuts coming out of the ceiling.
That was awesome,
right? And eventually, what happened? The fridge opened up and swallowed her up.
That was a scary looking fridge too. Like it was like on fire and had like rusted metal and shit.
So it was like I just see that as like. Your mistakes and your dreams and your weaknesses all coming to get you. If you can't learn to, sort of self-control and strength. I think a movie about addiction is naturally a movie about self-control. And I think that all the characters lack self-control. So I think that's another. I just think there's a lot of themes here, and I think that it's easy to watch this movie and just sort of see, like an art house sort of just like. Display piece. But the thing about a lot of these art house films, which is why I love them so much, like this, is that there actually is a lot more going on. It's just that it's not. This is the genre of film where the worst thing you can do is be ham-fisted about the message you're trying to get across.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean?
That was super shitty.
So,
these ham-fisted comments have been ham-fisted every single episode.
Actually, I guess, I kind of want to go talk about more of the style of the film. And the entire time I was watching it, and Bryce, I know you might understand this, but and not only from subject matter, but from style overall, it's very reminiscent of Trainspotting. I thought, because Trainspotting is also about...
It's a very similar movie to Trainspotting.
Because Trainspotting was made in 1996, I just had to look that up.
This came out in 2000.
So, Trainspotting is an English film starring Ewan McGregor, and it was about him and his friends being addicted to heroin. And there are scenes in Trainspotting that are very surreal and very kind of hallucinogenic, kind of like what happens in this film, like when Jennifer Connelly's at dinner with Arnold, and he puts his hand on hers, and then she says like you're a schmuck or a creep or something, and stabs his hand with a fork. Or like when
Jared Leto takes the gun
from the police officer, like, holy shit, this is happening, but then it just was like a hallucination. So I thought the film was very similar to that. I think, I mean, I watched Trainspotting last year, and I wasn't paying a lot of attention to it when I watched it. So I feel, but just for going off of that, I like this film a lot more than Trainspotting, even though it took a lot of different elements of Trainspotting and incorporated into this film.
I think another style thing that does really well is like the hard cuts.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like in the scenes where like something's going on with each different character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the main example is obviously at the ending, where kind of like we see them all at their lowest point, and it just cuts back and forth, and you kind of are able to draw the parallels between all the different storylines.
I liked it when they were doing drugs, and it was like the
Yeah, it was really interesting. And it was cool because later on, once his mother started developing, that was kind of the transition scene. Even though it was a hard cut, you could tell if you saw pills going into a hand and going to her mouth, you knew that it was going to talk about, they were going to show Jared Leto's mother.
Right.
And then if it was, you saw, usually if you saw like a dollar bill getting rolled up, they were going to talk about Jennifer Connelly because she did more cocaine. And then Marlon Wayans and Jared Leto usually did heroin. And like I thought, and then like the cotton ball going into the lid, like that was really interesting. And I enjoy, like, hard cutting is like an edit style that I really like. Even though it's kind of shitty.
It's usually done badly.
Usually it's not the best idea, but like in this, like it's done really well.
That and split screening are usually awful ideas, and they usually turn out very badly.
Yeah.
In this film, it was a really good. Like, I mean, the scene where they're where Jennifer Connelly and Jared Leto are laying in bed and they're talking to each other, and they would split screen it, and then on one half the screen it'd sometimes be just a woman putting her finger to her lips, and like I really liked that.
Okay,
just a pure style choice.
I understand when they did like close-ups to other parts where it wasn't just them laying next to each other, but when it just showed their heads. I thought it was kind of unnecessary because the split screen was just like it was just closing a very small gap in between the two of them. Because then there would be points where you'd see Jared Leto's arm like fully extended on like the left side of the screen, and then like right where his elbow should be, there was like a hand touching Jennifer Connelly's face, and I just thought that was kind of unnecessary.
I think aesthetically it looked really good.
Okay, I don't know. I just thought that it was that style and that points didn't make a lot of sense to me. It wasn't bad, but I don't think it was necessary. I agree. Like when it was,
I think it'd be weird to cut from like the split screen to like full screen and then back to split screen.
Oh yeah, I'm just
saying. I don't know if it had been like a symmetric shot of both of them and they split screened it. That could have been pretty cool. I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's just, it's not like a huge problem I had with the film. I'm like, oh, that one part I didn't like. I'm gonna like shit all over this. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Another like film reference. I don't know if you guys have seen Natural Born Killers.
I've heard of it. I want to see it.
Yeah, Oliver Stone.
It's
film
Woody
with,
Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson
And
I forget who his co-star is. That film is very similar to this one in the sense you have like these sort of a sort of romantic kind of relationship at the center of it that sort of goes to destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Also stylistically, the scene with the refrigerator reminded me a lot of that film.
Really?
That film gets way out there with the surrealism and the scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
I did not like that film very much, though. I didn't think it was a good film. But it just stylistically reminded me of that.
Okay.
This is really random, but just throwing out a plug to the Marvel Universe.
Oh, God.
In the new Jessica Jones show, they actually referenced this movie.
Really?
And I just thought it was really funny because I'm like, oh, we're about to watch that.
That's cool.
Huh.
Anyway, no, I mean, overall, like, stylistically, like I know, Chris, you say you're a sucker for style, as am I, and I really enjoyed that. There were the color scheme, and kind of, it looked like there was a filter or something over at one point, it wasn't necessarily like full Wes Anderson, but it was reminiscent of it to me. I don't know why.
What?
The color scheme, not the film itself.
I thought it was kind of drained.
Oh,
this is not very colorful.
It was drained, and
Wes Anderson has like very colorful sets,
No,
colorful pictures.
It was overexposed a lot.
I don't know.
It was really overexposed
dry
at times.
colors.
There was something about it that reminded
It was
me.
like
I don't know why.
it was almost like dry and washed out and overexposed, like too bright.
Okay.
A lot of the times, which I mean, when I say too bright, is it not like it was too bright for me. I'm just saying, like it was purposely made to be overexposed.
Yeah. No, I understand. I get that. I don't know what about it.
And it almost kind of had like a I don't want to say VHS quality look to it, but like it was kind of buzz over everything. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like the visuals weren't crisp. It wasn't completely sharp. You know what I mean? There was a kind of haze over the.
I think that was a stylistic choice.
Yeah, I know. So I'm saying like, I don't think it was very. It wasn't like dark though. Like it wasn't dark. It was just sort of devoid of. I don't want to say color, but like
dark as in dark, like color scheme wise, or like content wise.
No, No, I didn't mean. I meant it wasn't dark either way. I just meant that it was kind of like the visually it was just sort of drained. It was like someone kind of pulled a plug and like let all the color out.
I don't know. That thought crossed my mind at one point. I don't know why. But I don't know. I will say that like this film is like extremely unique. Like this is completely different from like anything else I've ever seen. Like there was the point when Sarah I can't remember what her name was. Goldfarb. She was like she went outside with like all of her old lady friends. And then she's like, "Oh, I got the mail!" And like went into her apartment and like filled. And they were all sitting around there, like helping her spell her name.
They like marched in formation to the mailbox.
I was like, "This is so weird. Like, what is going on?"
Cool. Really cool.
And I thought like this is so unique, and it's like completely different from anything else I've seen. And I really appreciated that like a film like that would try to do. But
you know, like the way that the shot, like the scenes with all the old ladies sitting outside, it was kind of like. They were kind of like a mob of hens, you know? Mm-hmm. They all fought
all following her to the mailbox.
Yeah. Oh, but like that was their mindset, right? They were all just like they all were thought the same way. You know, the one woman recommended the going to the doctor, and everyone else automatically thought it was a good idea. No one thought the question. Maybe you shouldn't be going to a doctor to get pills to lose weight. But like
that doctor was so shady.
Yeah, he was like, "Yep, we can fix that. Don't worry about it."
But like all the old ladies were like a hive mind sort of, and the visual choices they used in with them. Kind of emphasize that, like especially when they're walking in the mailbox, and it's almost like a formation of
and they all sit outside in a row in their lawn chairs.
So it's like the visual complementing, the aesthetic complementing the sort of story, which is always good. Yeah. It shouldn't be that it's like the camera is just showing us mouths that are flapping around and words are coming out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to use the visual to enhance the story, and I think that this film really did a good job of that.
One thing I thought was it was kind of heartbreaking at the end was after you see Sarah Goldfarb, she goes through EST and she's in the hospital, and then her two friends actually came to visit her. And I remember earlier in the film that she was talking to Jared Leto and said like he's like you have friends. She's like, no, they don't count. Like it was very hard to watch and see that like her friends actually did care about her after she had gone through all this. And one of them, I think, was the one that suggested the dieting pills to her, and it was just very sad to see that she thought her friends didn't care about her, that her friends didn't count. She just idolized TV and eventually went down this path where they actually decided to come visit her after her treatment, and it was just a really difficult thing to watch, I thought.
I really loved the TV show that she was watching the whole movie.
Yeah.
None of them watched actual TV programs. It was either like the Shopping Channel or Juice.
But it was sort of like a satire of like American self-help culture. Because like, okay, I mean, self-help isn't like huge anymore.
Yeah.
But
there's still
10 or so years ago, self-help books and self-help, there were self-help books everywhere. There's, shysters hawking self-help stuff on TV all the time. So it was kind of a nice commentary and sort of just a parody of like the American self-help culture, which was a lot more influential during the time when this film was made than I think it is now.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that because that was the first that was the opening scene of the movie, the Christopher McDonald doing his kind of self-help whatever bullshit. And I was kind of hoping that it was going to be a televangelist thing. Where he's like, contribute your donation, send me money. And just because that was like a really good bit on John Oliver. But I don't know, it wasn't. It was still really good. I liked how they cast Christopher McDonald just to do that. Yeah. And he's like, just has really obscure roles in all movies. Most notable one is probably Shooter McGavin and Happy Gilmore.
Oh.
I thought that was
that guy.
Yeah, I thought that was a funny casting choice, but it worked. He did a pretty decent job.
I just love the scene where they come out of the TV,
and he's just like making out with like the attractive version of Sarah, and like he's like laughing at it. And then they do the conga line, and then like she starts like she's in the TV show, and that was what she wanted. She wanted to be in TV, but when she was paranoid under the effect of the diet pills, like she was. Like,
and it cuts back from them to like her face, like
completely
like disgusting.
Like the makeup design in the film was fantastic because they really portrayed like you saw like when like Marlon Wayans was getting sick while he was in jail. Like you could see his face was covered in sweat. You saw that Jennifer Connelly was going through withdrawals. Not only
how did they get into jail, by the way?
Because when he went to the hospital,
they went to the hospital
and the guy's like, "Oh shit, his arm is like filled with
So
heroin."
they like,
you guys are.
They're like, "Yeah, you're on
drugs.
heroin." Like,
okay.
I don't know why he'd be going to like a prison work camp.
Yeah.
But like, because they didn't have any drugs on them.
No.
Well, they might have.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Let's be honest, they probably
had some in their butt. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any like more like further analysis or comments you want to talk about? We want to do ratings.
I did really enjoy like Jennifer Connelly's sort of plot arc. It wasn't like
Sorry.
Jesus Christ, Cole.
Sorry.
It wasn't.
That was shitty.
It wasn't like super flat. Like her character wasn't super fleshed out, but just like how she sort of just like descended into madness,
pimpdom,
and into desperation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. To the point where she's doing unspeakable things.
Ass to ass.
I said unspeakable, but I guess we'll go ahead and speak
it's okay.
about it.
They said in the film. That was another thing. Like the film was, there were some like real moments of like black comedy at points, or points that probably shouldn't have been funny, but like
I thought we were in the marquee for a second when you guys were laughing.
Okay.
Oh no! But when the fridge was like.
That was okay. That was funny.
When the spotlight, when they're on the TV show and the spotlight light on the fridge, and then the fridge like started rocking and coming towards her, that was super funny.
Yeah, and when she's laying in bed and she sees like the donuts.
Yeah,
and
that was funny.
Okay, the point when the guy's
the donuts part was pretty dumb.
Yeah. The ass to ass was like that shouldn't be funny.
That was not funny. You guys were laughing. I was like, what the fuck?
It was just super weird. Like that's another thing. Like this film was incredibly weird at points, and I really like that because I like weird shit. I know that sounds terrible. But like, that's something
definitely isn't a movie for like, oh, let's go watch this.
No, I do not want to watch this film again.
Sit down with your family.
No,
it is that kind of movie. Not with your family, but like, I would definitely recommend this movie to people.
Oh, I would recommend it. Yeah. I would never say like, hey, I'd be like, hey, you should watch this film. They're like, oh, you should come over and watch it. I'm like, no,
I would.
I'm not gonna watch this again.
I would.
What do you guys want to do tonight? Oh, let's watch
Requiem.
I would. Is that weird?
Yeah. Like, okay,
I would.
I think this is a good transition.
It's definitely a good movie to watch, but like,
I would watch this with friends. I'd watch this on a Friday night.
No, we just Tuesday. Thank you.
Well,
But anyway, I think we'll transition. I'm gonna give my 2-part rating scale. For overall quality of film, I'd say it was really well put together. I love the style. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I don't want to watch this again. It was like, it wasn't bad up until the last like 15, 20 minutes.
But the last like 15 minutes was so painful.
It's agonizing, and it's just like, at one point I'm like, oh god, this is like the music is super tense.
Like you want to look away, but you can't.
Yeah, but it was really, really well done. For the second scale, I'm gonna give it like,
don't do anything.
No, like I don't know. I'm gonna do like 10 hard cut transitions of drugs going to your body out of 10 because like the style for style, like just the style of the film itself was great. I thought it was perfect. I love stylized movies like this. The one that was super jarring was when they were like summer.
Yeah,
like fall,
yeah.
Like, and it was just like
it was like
super
the sound of bars closing.
It was
a bit of foreshadowing there.
And like when the scene where Marlon Wayans was in the limo, and he's like, the dude was doing sign language, and he said like, if you fuck me, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh man, you have a white driver, and then like shit just hit the fan, and like then winter.
I love those shots of like the people's face in front,
the mounted,
the tracking shots, like while they're running away.
Oh no, those I think the way they actually shoot those is really I think they mount the camera on the actor.
Yeah,
to shoot those.
No, that's what you still need to watch Onks because they have some of those shots.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they do, and that was like
there's a lot of shots in Onks.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. But yeah, that was my rating of this movie. Bryce, Chris, what do you think?
I'll give it like I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, like, it's a really well done, really well acted. Also, lots of fantastic stylistic choices. But like, it's not something you want to watch again and again.
No, not at all.
So I give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, those are steady cam shots, by the way. But
Steady
anyways,
cam.
yeah. Anyways, this film is every moment of this film is. There's not a moment in this film that's wasted. Stylistically, beautiful. This is a film to be studied, watched, and remembered.
I just knew Chris was going to eat
really,
this up.
Damn.
Really a masterpiece from top to bottom. Marlon Wayans, who I really don't like as an actor because most of the stuff he's in is he's in a haunted house and a haunted house 2, for example.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
His filmography is terrible.
He looked familiar,
But
but I can place
I didn't recognize him from anything
Yeah, it's
else.
scary movie. But he was fantastic in this film. You know what I mean? And Jared Leto is fantastic.
Ma.
Yeah, Ma.
Ellen Bernstein was Jared Leto's mom, and she was
fantastic.
She was nominated for Best Lead Actress.
She was fantastic. Okay. Her performance in the
movie
scene
about her.
It was really about her.
She's
yeah.
pretty much the main character.
The scene in the scene in the kitchen where she was talking about if I don't have anything to live for anymore, why do I get up in the morning? That really, that was an emotional scene.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm not a crying movies type, but if I was, I think that scene would have got to me. You know.
All right.
So this film is cinematic perfection from top to bottom, a masterpiece of style and story. Aesthetic and form. Really a beautiful film, and I would be wrong in giving this film anything less than a 10 out of 10.
Whoa, damn, Chris. That's impressive. I think that's the first time we've ever had someone...
Better than The Master?
Yeah, I think it's better than Master.
I think it's the first time we've ever had someone that didn't suggest the film get a higher rating.
Yeah.
So that's impressive.
I just knew Chris was going to like this.
Yeah. Well, time for my pick, guys.
Yeah, Cole's
It's finally my turn to pick
your
again.
Your private collection, huh?
No. I think we've been dealing a lot with heavy
Savage Beach.
No, heavy.
Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Not really a
Monsters University.
Emotionally invested films.
The SpongeBob
No,
SquarePants movie.
we already watched
Minions.
that. Don't worry about it. No,
We're not watching Minions.
Minions too. This is
Electric
personally
Boogaloo.
one of my favorite films. It's
Backdoor
fun.
Huskies 5.
It's extremely dark. It's extremely gritty.
The Crow.
Bryce got it. It's The Crow. I can't remember who's directed by, starring Brandon Lee.
He died filming.
He died.
This, right?
Yeah, he sadly died while he was filming.
Yeah.
It was released in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Just a really good kind of fun. It's think of a Marvel movie that's extremely dark and gritty, and it's rated R, and it's awesome. I really love it. Stylistically, it's great. It's great. I'm really excited to watch it with you guys. So.
And guess what? Guess what that means?
Come on, Chris.
We are one episode away from the biggest
So in
episode.
6 months, we'll get the super special secret episode.
The biggest episode in the history of Essential Viewing. This is huge, guys. And I know that you're very excited. I know the fans. I mean, I've been getting asked on the street, Chris, when is the special episode coming? I'm like, it's coming. It's coming. Be patient, And I think we're gonna release it on. I think that we're gonna probably release it. We'll try and release it on the same day as Star Wars, Episode 7, because I think this is an episode that can compete with that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that when I talk about the hype for this episode, that's the only thing I can think of to equate it with. Really, is Star Wars Episode 7.
All right.
I'm very excited for this.
Okay.
What do you have, Cole?
I just one last thing before we sign off. This is you reminded me of this by saying it was coming, and this is really bad. But when during the scene towards the end when Jennifer Connelly is performing
ass to
ass, the terrible acts, and all the guys are sitting around the table and they're like, come, they're chanting it. And then Jared Leto wakes up from getting his arm amputated, and he tells them about Mia, I can't remember her name. Marion, and the woman's like, don't worry, she'll come. I'm like, I thought it was super funny.
I did not notice that at all.
I thought, I was like, I see what you did there. But anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.